Hey folks, it's Tom, your Frugal Prepper. So to all the people who think I eat too many Big Macs or whatever, and that's why I buy cheap guns, I don't really care what you think. Um, or why I buy small guns. Or this is my 380 that I also do carry. I carry it in this lock leather holster, and I carry it with this gun belt from Blue Alpha. And but a lot of times I'm working on cars rolling around on the ground in the gravel, and it's just not convenient to have this gun in that situation. It's just not going to be comfortable. You're going to end up hitting the mag release and losing your magazine, and it's going to be a nightmare. In that case, I like to pocket carry something tiny, and that's when I carry my 22. And I'd rather have a 22 in my pocket than this thing pulled out of my holster in my lockbox in my car. I just would. Maybe you guys would rather have a bigger gun in your lockbox locked in your car, but when someone comes up to you and you're working in a bad neighborhood and it's getting dark and bad things happen and you're working underneath of a car where you can't necessarily see people sneaking up on you, maybe you'd rather have the gun in your car. I'd rather have the 22 in my pocket. But let's say, I think a lot of people are way too focused on caliber. I used to be this way too. I used to be when I was a noob and I didn't know anything about gunfighting. And I still am not saying I'm any type of a gunfighting expert. I've never ever been in a gunfight. I don't ever want to be in a gunfight, but I have taken some training and I do practice that training regularly. And I'm getting ready to take even more training, like at least once a year, but probably twice a year. I like to go take some type of training class from some type of an instructor, just to keep my skills up, just to keep learning, to keep, every time I take a class from a new instructor, I learn something that I didn't know before. And then I can try to practice that and put it into my routine and see if it works for me. I see guys at the gun range all the time, and they got the 45, and they can't hit crap with it. They can't make rapid follow-up shots with it. They're like, boom, boom, They don't have a proper grip. They haven't learned how to grip a semi-automatic pistol, which is, I'm left-handed, so I'm gonna, this can only hold two of my fingers, right? So I'm gonna wrap my two fingers around there, give it a nice firm grip, like a nice firm handshake, right? And then I'm gonna wrap this hand around, and I'm gonna roll it forward, and I'm just gonna put my thumb right here on the bottom of the slide. And that's the perfect grip for me with this gun, because it means I can just boom, boom, boom. Like, the gun will fall right back to right about where it should be. In fact, it's almost easier for me to make a follow-up shot on target than it is to make that first shot on target this way. But there's no magical way to hold a gun. Different people do hold guns differently, and whatever works for them that they practice with regularly that allows them to make rapid follow-up shots, I say that's fine. Different instructors will have different ideas for how you should grip a gun, but you need to learn to work the controls of your gun. I'm left-handed, so I have to hit the mag release with this finger right here, right? That's just how I have to do it. You need to learn to grab your spare magazine, feed it in the gun, and feed it in there with some force, right? I'm not like, bam, but I'm not just being all ginger with it either, right? I am putting my finger up here at the top first, like that, so that I can feel where it's gonna go. And then once it's started, give it some force, right? And then get ready to shoot. I do not worry about the slide release. I'm a lefty, and that just doesn't work for me because I have to pull my trigger finger back to hit it. I just like that. Now, every once in a while, I do still do my trigger finger slide release, and I do that in case this hand's out of commission, right? That could happen, but probably not a super likely scenario. Carrying guns with extra capacity, yeah, bullets are opportunities, and more bullets are better, right? I mean, I don't want to say opportunities, because that sounds like, oh, that's an opportunity to go, but bullets are chances that you have to save your life, right? If you're missing the more bullets you have, the better off you might be to actually stop the threat. But typically 2 or 3 rounds is more than enough for a gunfight, right? I mean, that's if you can put a couple shots on target, you're probably going to end the threat. But you might need more. This holds 6 in the magazine. You can carry 1 in the chamber or not. That's a whole different discussion. I still don't carry 1 in the chamber in this gun. I just don't like that it doesn't have an external safety. I just have to get over that, but I haven't yet. But I will get to where I do carry 1 in the chamber with this gun. But you can put that gun out there pretty quick into action and rack that slide, But if this hand's tied up and somebody's got a hold of you, that could be a fatal mistake not to carry 1 in the chamber. But at least without carrying 1 in the chamber, I know I'm not going to be walking around with a case of Glock leg. But get to know your gun, shoot well with it. I think gun modifications are okay. Like, I would like to get a slightly bigger set of sights with this because I'm going blind. But, I'm still dealing with the factory sights, and they're way better than they are in the 22. Night sights, I think, things like that are great. They're going to make you shoot better. But I think a lot of guys get way too tied up in aftermarket options, right? Like, oh, I'm going to get this such and such super special trigger and this kind of optic and this thing and that, and it's going to make me a better shooter. It might make you a better shooter when you're at the range aiming at paper. I don't know that it's going to do much when you're under stress in an up-close personal combat situation. But I do take training. I think most guys need to worry less about carrying a big expensive gun. There are plenty of Tauruses and plenty of inexpensive guns that are super reliable, that have decent triggers that you can shoot pretty well. And they're in that $200 to $250 range. I mean, these are good guns, like the Glock G2s or the Taurus G2s and G3s. Just great guns. Taurus Millennium Pros, those are great guns. So don't be afraid to try a less expensive gun. Ruger makes an EC9, I think. It's a great gun, really cheap. Buy as good of a gun as you can, but you don't have to go overboard with that. You'd be better off to take that extra $800 that you would have spent on your super special whatever and go spend it on some training. And then spend it on some ammunition so that you can practice the training. Remember, practice without training really just reinforces what you're doing wrong and makes that more common and a harder habit to break later. And training doesn't mean that you're going to leave training and now be this super great, super tactical, great, wonderful shooter. It means that you're going to learn some things and you're going to have to take note of those things, and then you're going to have to follow up with practice. And the practice helps to repeat those things and get them more to where they become second nature over time. One of the drills that I do every time I shoot now is I load 2 rounds in this magazine, on boom boom, and then the slide holds open, right? I drop my mag, I pull my other mag up out of my pouch, right? And well, it doesn't have a round in it, I can't close it. And then I lock the gun, for it, and that's, and then I take 2 more shots, boom, boom, right? And then I reload 2 shots in each mag, and I do that again. Because I'm probably never going to have to reload in a gunfight. Probably won't happen. Probably if it does happen, it'll be too late for it to make a difference, right? But you never know when you're going to take that first shot and get that really weird double feed to where you've got to rip the mag out. Rather than putting that same mag back in case there is something that went wrong with it, toss it, go for your reserve mag, rack the slide. That's why I practice mag changes. But it's amazing how when you get under stress, how something as simple as that becomes like, I just dropped it on the floor. And so that's why it's important to practice while you're under stress. And to get under stress, I jog in place a little bit. I do a few jumping jacks, just big fat guy out on the range, like, and I get my heart rate up, right? And I get that pumping, right? And then I try to go and do the drills. It's about as close as you can get to being under real stress. But most of these guys that are saying like, "Oh, you're 22 is stupid," and blah blah blah, and you need to carry a bigger caliber. They got a gun, right? They took it to the ranch and they shot a box of ammo through it, and then they're like, "Man, this ammo's expensive." And then they bought us a box of hollow point self-defensive rounds, and they loaded those in their gun, and they never shot them. And then they take it home and they set it in the dresser drawer because it's too heavy to carry everywhere every day. And then they don't have a gun on them at all, and they don't even know if the ammo that's in their gun at home in their drawer will function reliably because it is too expensive. Because they spent $1,200 on their gun, and now they don't have any money left over for training and practice. Just saying. Now there are some guys that buy big expensive guns and do lots of training and practice. More power to you, man. More power to you. Anyway, I'll talk to y'all later. It's Tom, your frugal prepper. Remember, it's not the size of your gun, it's how well you use it.